Welcome back to Squawk Box. China's state media now reporting that President Trump's team reached out to China for talks on tariffs. It's an interesting development, and in terms of how this game theory goes, I want to get to Eunice Yoon. She joins us now live from Beijing. Good morning.
Thanks, Andrew. Well, that post is linked to Chinese state TV and a social media account. And that social media account is closely watched here for its government messaging on U.S. China trade issues. So the post says that the U.S., quote, proactively reached out to China through various channels. It argued that the U.S. is clearly, they say, the more anxious party. But it says that China has nothing to lose by engaging, and that this could be what they describe as an opportunity to pressure the U.S. in trade talks, since it asserts that Beijing is in a stronger position. So the post is a possible way for China to signal that it's willing to embrace an off-ramp for the tariffs. Because what we're seeing is that they're saying we're open to talks, but at the same time, the U.S. is coming to China for these talks, and also that China is in a stronger position, that China has the upper hand in negotiations. So the key point is that by doing all of this, China saves face in the eyes of the Chinese public. Andrew?
That's exactly how I read it. And we know, Eunice, and I'll be as tactful as I can because you're in China, but we know the way the CCP spins and operates, and we spin here, too. There's no doubt the Trump administration is involved in a lot of spinning, but big piece in the Journal today is, and I was trying to figure out if you had a 1% problem with the workforce in China because of they aren't exporting toys that they make, or they're not, whatever you want to take a company that's not exporting anything right now to the United States. I mean, the numbers get really large really quick with the size of China's workforce. And the piece here is saying that China has signaled that it's better able to tolerate the pain, but there are big cracks already starting to show. And I'm wondering whether you're seeing that over there.
Yeah, no, there's definitely big cracks. I mean, you're talking about the numbers. They're anywhere between, like Goldman Sachs had said, there could be 60 million jobs that are affected in the export sector. And there are cracks in that there are several factories, suppliers I've spoken to, Walmarts as well, who are all saying that shipments have been paused. For the most part, they haven't been able to ship those out. And that's really worrisome. People within the factories are worried about their jobs. People who are dealing with the shipping are worried about doing their jobs. I spoke to someone recently who said that on one of the ports, the folks who are in one of the lanes that's actually dedicated to the U.S. lines, like that they're just playing cards. You know, it's a really difficult situation. And as much as the government says here that they want to help these exporters, it's difficult to shift away from U.S. products that are tailor-made for Americans to Europe or to the domestic market.
Eunice, if what China exports to us is a multiple of what we export to them, I don't see how they can say they have the upper hand, other than by saying that they're able to put their people through a lot more suffering than we're willing to do over here, because we're soft and capitalist in the West and everything else.
Well, I wouldn't say that Americans are soft. Americans are super hardworking.
We're pretty soft. We're pretty soft. We can't handle much hardship.
No, but in China, there have been... But Chinese people are really willing to deal with certain levels of hardship that Americans might not be. So I've already been hearing about factories saying that they're going to go into hibernation, that they're going to be paying the very minimal amount to just retain the workers, because retaining the workers is really important, as you could, I'm sure you appreciate as well in the U.S. Like when you want to keep your workers, but if you're willing to pay a minimum amount, then people could people say they eat bitterness, and they say that Chinese people can eat bitterness really, really well.